Sarasota Memorial Hospital is a perfect example of the killing fields that our nation's hospitals have become. Yesterday, they held a public meeting where a credentialed family physician was kicked out after politely presenting lives saved with ivermectin. Police officers were used to shut down free speech, and while countless patients choke their way through endotracheal tubes and ventilators upstairs, hospital officials are leading a cover-up in plain sight. What happens here is happening everywhere. This is the Dr.Jane Ruby Show, and you're about to enter Truth in Medicine. Welcome to the Dr. Jane Ruby Show on this Wednesday, February 22nd, 2023. I'm really glad to have you with me tonight. You need to know that hospitals all across this nation are still entrapping people, forcing them on to dangerous drugs like narcotics and remdesivir, intubating them, and then hooking them up to forced ventilation. Yesterday, Sarasota Memorial Hospital held a public hearing, and the only reason we were able to get a glimpse into the profound corruption and murderous history of this and so many other hospitals is because this particular hospital is unique in that its board members are publicly elected. But unfortunately, that has not stopped the corruption and the attempts to cover up the countless murders that have occurred there. Why should you care? Because this is a glimpse into what's happening in your hospitals, in your areas of the country. Make no mistake. We're also getting reports like this particular article here that was posted by the Florida Standard of employees reporting that certain doctors are threatening their safety and security because they didn't take the jab. In this article, the Florida Standard does an excellent job, in my opinion, of explaining the background of and everything that happened yesterday in this hearing. But I'm going to give you the highlights. Remember that every hospital in the United States is following the CDC Death Protocol, or almost every hospital, in all fairness. The positive fake PCR, isolation, narcotics and remdesivir to damage organs, and then the ventilation. And they do it for the money, because they really don't have to do it if they had morals and a compass and ethics, and they cared about humanity and their fellow man. They do it for the money, because every one of those steps garners them a bonus check. And the whole death cycle yields about $100,000 per patient. And the Sarasota community, rightfully, has called for an independent investigation. But before that could begin, someone from the board appointed herself as the head of a new committee called the Quality Committee just last month, and has forced them to forego the independent external investigation for an internal cover-up that she's calling an investigation. And this is Britt Reiner. Here she is in picture number 2. The community knows what she's up to because they circulated this flyer, as you can see in the next picture number 3, with her photo. And all of the things that they've nailed her for blocking an independent investigation. Oh, no, we'll look at ourselves. We'll look at this internally, because then we can hide it under the carpet when we find the evidence. That's obstructing. That's obstructing justice, in my opinion. Another stunning event in this hearing yesterday occurred when Dr. John Littell, a practicing family physician in the Sarasota Memorial Hospital system, testified to the panel, to the board, that his patients were brought back, patient after patient was brought back from the brink of 72% respirations, oxygen saturation, with ivermectin. And he also testified to how he was punished across the system in many different ways for using the life-saving medication. Then they tried to cut him off, saying he only had a minute left. And he said, oh, no. I drove 2.5 hours to be here, and I will get this out. I want you to, in this first video clip, I want you to pay particular attention to how the cop inches over toward him as he begins to say everything he wants to say. And the board must apparently be communicating their bristling. The police in this situation yesterday, and I'm sure in many others, are definitely being used to control speech. Please roll video 1.
C-section, I walk in there, she's blue as can be, no ultrasounds, excuse me, sir, 72% pulse ox, and nothing being done. I took ivermectin out of my pocket, I gave it to her. Now I got dozens of cases I can't share them with you, but let me just tell you this. One more minute, sir. No, I took 2.5 hours here. Just let me say this. We are not noise. We are not noise. I'm going to tell you this. If you're going to be the best, be the first to admit wrongdoing in all humility and just realize that these lives would have been, just think of all the patients' lives that would have been spared. And I was disciplined for giving ivermectin. I've been fined $500. I've been suspended 2 weeks. I've been on the American Board of Family Medicine, the Florida Department of Health, in 2 hospitals. Thank you. You take care of patients. God bless you.
Now, moments later, after Dr. Littell left the podium cooperatively and was saying goodbye to some people, you see the police. Apparently, it took 2 of them to remove this distinguished gentleman physician, and he had to leave. That's what free speech gets you these days. Let's take a look at his removal. Please roll video 2.
What were the outcomes that we had? And we used an independent third party who basically said we had 24% better outcomes than our peer group.
I just wanted to let her know I'm wearing this white coat. I'm not employed. I'm not a contracted physician. I'm able to speak my mind. That's why I asked her. I said thank you for your advocacy for patients and doctors.
Well, this is how it's done here.
All right. Second thing is to follow the money. I'm kind of a numbers guy. And did the hospital benefit, or was there any?
Sir, you're not allowed to videotape. You're not allowed to record that. You can videotape the public.
So can't videotape him? What are we doing to him? Interesting. He said I can't video what's happening out there.
The doctor and the patient, and any doctor that wanted to prescribe ivermectin or any medical treatment that they felt was best for the patient was not blocked from the hospital. And I think that's...
So employees are also getting harassed in this hospital, and I'm sure in many others. Let's take a look at picture 4, which is not that easy to read, but what's highlighted here, and what this is a written communication to the employees of the Sarasota Memorial Hospital system. And you can see that they are still implementing a mandate for the bioweapon shots. And there are very strict rules here, apparently, about movement throughout and around this institution relative to your jab status. In fact, they mark their identification badges with their jab status. I mean, that's the yellow star. That's the yellow Juden star, right? That Jews were forced to wear in Germany, right? They had to wear a yellow star on their jacket to make sure everybody in the town knew they were Jewish, so they could be victims of hate behavior, right? It's disgusting. It's disgustingly reminiscent of that. And there are also limitations, apparently, in this hospital, according to this document, on when healthcare workers can go to the dining room and where in the dining room they can go based on their jab status. If you aren't outraged at this point, if you aren't looking into your own hospitals for this kind of discrimination and treatment, something's wrong with you. And let's look at some of the worst offenders in this hospital system. Let's go to picture number 5. We have here Dr. Daniel Case. Dr. Case is reportedly a radiologist in the Sarasota Memorial Hospital system. He's been repeatedly reported by employees in the system for harassing healthcare workers, including nurses. And here are some of the things that they report. Let me share this with you. One nurse says, when I first arrived to work, Dr. Daniel Case called my office to ask if I was vaccinated with the COVID vaccine. I said no. He said, are you going to get vaccinated? Biden made it mandatory. I said, no, I'm not going to get vaccinated. Why not? He asked. You can get terminated for that. I replied, because that's my freedom of choice. And he said, well, you guys are the reason why people are dying and why COVID is spreading. And let's make sure we keep his face up, because I want to make sure that he's well known and famous in the community and in the system for what he's doing. So I asked him, this nurse reports, really, Dr. Case, you really are saying this to me? Then he said, when you guys get fired, we'll have a party and Darwinism will do its work. Wow. Wow. And so many more of these types of reports, written reports that you can find that have been released in the public domain. Well, another physician, and this one's going to blow your mind, Dr. Jonathan Hofberger. Dr. Jonathan Hofberger, let's bring his picture up. This is picture number 7, so we know who we're talking about. He is an osteopathic physician in the SMH system. And his specialty, this blows my mind as a cardiac nurse practitioner, he is a cardiothoracic surgeon. And those are the surgeons that do the open heart surgery, right? They do the coronary artery bypass graft surgeries, hours long, lots of preparation, and working on hearts that are on mechanical pump. You'd think that he wouldn't have a lot of extra time to be scaring people and spreading fear porn in social media. But it turns out that Dr. Jonathan Hofberger is actually quite the Facebook darling. In his picture, here he is in picture 7, as I said, and now we can jump to picture number 8. Okay, let me just take a moment. Let's take a moment and look at picture number 8. Let's enlarge that, make sure people can see this. Picture 8 is one of his Facebook posts. And he has his own, it's his real name, it's his Facebook, according to people that were on the board. And he says he's got a myth posted. A quote from someone, I've had COVID-19, so I don't need to be vaccinated since I have the antibodies. And let's remember that the fake authorities are now coming out and saying, well, we know natural immunity is just as good, or better than the C-19 shots. At least they're saying it's just as good. We know they're not vaccines, and it's not. The shots are not giving you any immunity. But he says to people, and he's using all caps, he's angry. You, all in caps, still need to be vaccinated. Really, Hofberger? You know damn well you don't. And then he says, in all caps, stop doing your own research. Who the hell are you to tell people not to do their own research? And he says, you can find anything on the internet to substantiate whatever you want and believe. I wouldn't argue with that, but that doesn't mean that there isn't good information out there from other experts like yourself, Dr. Hofberger. Listen to the vast consensus of medical opinion. See, he wants to shore up. He wants to keep you, revering the ivory tower of medical doctors, all these MDs all over the world that have sent so many innocent people to their deaths by pushing these shots, by demanding these shots, by withholding medical care, which is so despicable. Withholding medical care because of the shots. When did you ever see that? When did you ever see a doctor or a nurse say, well, unless you get your polio vaccine or unless you get your yearly flu shot? Not until now. Now we are. He says, don't listen to the minority in order to reinforce the narrative you want to believe. Despicable. Despicable. And picture 10. Let's take a look at Dr. Hoffberger's Facebook crafting. Okay. Picture 10, he says, nobody is doing their own research. Really? All you're doing is finding someone to corroborate what you already believe. Unless you're a scientist, trust the science, right, Dr. Hoffberger? Because you're the authority. How many people have you sent to their deaths, sir? He said, unless you're a scientist running a peer-reviewed study, which we also know can be corrupted, you only know what you've been told by someone else. Yeah, like when you tell us something. He goes on to say, you don't have better access to data than the CDC. Because they don't lie, right? Look at this guy, he's a shill. He's a paid shill for the criminal, corrupt CDC, FDA, all the ABC agencies that have collapsed. And he says, you have Google in a flimsy grasp of science. Give me a break with this, I did my own research bullshit. That's his word. Right? He's bullying people. I'm the authority because I'm the MD. We have experts for a reason. Yeah. And they've sent hundreds of thousands of people to their deaths. You don't even know how your radio works, let alone the internet. What a condescending, arrogant piece of crap you are, Dr. Hoffberger. And then last but not least is picture 10, right? Where he has posted a picture, here, this picture of a tombstone. Says, I did my own research, because he wants to scare people. Don't rely on yourself. Only rely on us as the experts, right? Well, while this fear and harassment is perpetrated by these killer physicians, and they are responsible, make no mistake, for thousands, countless thousands of preventable deaths, I do have a message for the nurses and other healthcare workers at Sarasota Memorial Hospital. Did you think you would be safe staying in the hospital, getting your exemption? Or maybe some of you took the jab and stayed, kept your job, got your paycheck for the last 1 to 2 years? Because you're all a perfect example of why I have stated over and over again that by staying in the system, whatever way you stayed in that system, you enabled that hospital to not only murder innocent people, but to make millions of dollars doing it. And so my sympathy for all of you who are there, still in there, is limited. And here's why. Because if you all had banded together on day one and walked out, you would have brought that hospital to its knees, and no amount of money from the federal government would have stopped it, because they wouldn't have been able to function. They wouldn't be able to run the place. They wouldn't have been able to pay their bills, right? And they would have relinquished, and they would have revamped what they forced within their institutions. It's a despicable thought that nurses and doctors, those of you in there, and come on, we know you know. Because you're seeing the bodies, the body bags. You're, like I've said, somebody's hanging those remdesivir bags, right? Nurses, somebody's ordering them, and y'all are seeing those bodies taken out, sent to the morgue, and moved on to the coroners for the final payment, right? Now you are the target. You see, it's that old saying, when they came for whatever it was, when they came for the Jews, I didn't speak up because I wasn't Jewish. When they came for the Christians, I didn't speak up because I wasn't a Christian. And then when they came for me, there was nobody to speak up. I was alone. They're coming for all of you who complied, who became part of it. You're all the targets now. You're all the targets. And I hope that you will all rethink what you're doing before you step back into that institution tomorrow. Because there are people that would stand with you if you simply showed the courage. When I return, you're going to hear the real truth right now about what's going on in our military. Because dropping the mandate for the jab was apparently pure theater. And we have our troops, the best of our best, our American troops, suffering heart attacks and strokes from the shots, who now cannot get health care. Because after all, we have to hide the damage from the shots, right? Unbelievable. I'll be right back. Hey everyone, I'd like to say a few words tonight and give some thanks to my sponsor, Goldco. Goldco has been with me from the beginning of the Dr. Jane Ruby Show, and I'm grateful for their support, and I'm very grateful that they have helped so many Americans protect their retirement savings with physical gold and silver. This is an incredible company. They have an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau, thousands of positive customer reviews. Give them a call today, and they'll send you a free IRA loophole kit so that you can learn more about how you can use physical gold and silver to protect your retirement savings. You can call them at 855-791-2619. We don't know what's coming with this Biden White House, sending all that money to the Ukraine, watching our own country go up in inflation and not doing a thing to help out. We've got to protect ourselves, and Goldco is here to help us. Call them today at 855-791-2619. I'll be back in a minute. Don't go anywhere.
The Dr. Jane Ruby Show is made possible by the generous support of Carlos Cortez Wealth Management. America first, family-minded, Christ-centered. Cortez Wealth Management is a great choice to protect your future. Call today, 813-448-3446.